you're well and having the most incredible day. As always, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video we're going to be diving into my what I read in July. Now, I managed to get through 10 books last month, which is so incredibly good for me. I'm really impressed with myself considering I got into reading halfway through May. I am really impressed with myself. So I have 10 books to share with you this month, and some are Colleen Hoover, some are not, and I'm just really excited to share them with you. I've got quite a few different authors in the mix this month, whereas the past months have been Colleen Hoover, Willow Winters, Colleen Hoover. So I'm really excited to be sharing with you loads more different authors this month. So without further ado, I'm going to dive right in. I hope you guys enjoy and carry on watching. So the first one I'm going to talk about is surprisingly a Colleen Hoover book. You guys know Colleen Hoover, she's absolutely massive at the moment, and for good reason. I love her book so much. The first one I read this month was Without Merit, which I picked up on a whim. I saw it when I went out shopping in my local town, and I knew that I wanted to read every Colleen Hoover book anyway, so I picked it up, and this is Without Merit. Now, Without Merit is basically, the story focuses on the Voss family. The Voss family have a lot of secrets, and there's a lot going on with them. There's a lot within each character that you don't know about, so you do start to learn more and more about each one. This book mainly focuses on a girl called Merit, who you are reading as, and Merit is, I wouldn't say she's a depressed teenager, but she's definitely got a lot more going on underneath than she's kind of allowing you to realise. And she meets somebody called Sagan, who, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Anyway, I've read it as Sagan, so I'm going to go with that. But it's all about kind of their relationship, I suppose, and their friendship and how they meet. But more importantly, the family has so much going on, it's kind of hard to keep track because there's just a lot going on. It's a very bizarre family vibe. It's a very strange situation they've got themselves in. I wouldn't necessarily say this is my favourite Colleen book of all time, because I didn't find myself diving into this book really enjoying the story and the characters like the other Colleen ones that I'm going to talk about in a minute. So I would give this one probably a 4 stars, which is still quite good. I would recommend it to somebody if they wanted to read a Colleen Hoover book. However, it's definitely not my first recommendation for sure, but I did really enjoy it. I loved kind of the dynamic of the family and all of the kind of juicy gossip, because it was good. So yeah, if you want kind of a nice, I don't want to say an easy read. It was kind of an easy read, but it was just, yeah, it was good. I really enjoyed it. I just wouldn't say it was my favourite. Sticking with the Colleen Hoover theme, we have Losing Hope. Now, Losing Hope, I read Hopeless in June, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I fell in love with all the characters, and when I tell you that this series is so incredible, I have finished it now, by the way, like, spoilers for my August reads, I've finished it, but this book, it's so good. The only thing about this book that I didn't like is essentially what this book is. It's Hopeless, but from Holder's perspective. So a lot of it, even the kind of dialogue, is a repeat from the first book. However, you do understand a lot more behind the scenes of Dean's life and kind of the things you don't get told in the first book, so it leaves no stone unturned. You find out everything, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I love it so much. Like, I'm so upset that I finally finished the series now, because I fell in love with everybody, like every character. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, Losing Hope was brilliant, and I think it was probably just over 300 pages. Yeah, oh actually it's quite long. 360 something pages, maybe, something like that. It's absolutely brilliant. I love this so much. You find out a lot more about Dean and his sister's relationship as well. I just think it's brilliant. Overall, I would give this one 4 stars. It's only not a 5-star because I feel like I've been very generous with 5 stars in the past, and I did love this book, and I loved that it gave me all the niggly bits that I didn't find out in the other book. But I feel like rereading it, it was just a little bit boring in places. Like, the dialogue was exactly the same, and it was kind of a bit boring, but other than that, 4 stars. I did really enjoy it. And the last Colleen Hoover book that I read last month was Finding Cinderella. Now, I will say, obviously this is part of the Hopeless series, so you have Hopeless, Losing Hope, Finding Cinderella, and then you have All Your Perfects and Finding Perfect, which I actually have read this past month, so I'll go into those in my August wrap-up video. But Finding Cinderella is so good. So this is a novella, so it is very short. It's 100 30 pages maybe, something like that. It's very, very short, very easy to read, and it was so good. Essentially, this book is about two of the characters in the Hopeless book who are kind of a little bit more behind the scenes, and it's just a bit more of their story, and I really, really loved this. Essentially, it's about Holder's best friend, Daniel, and a girl that he met in a closet in school. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but it's very juicy, and just kind of more of their story and what happened behind the scenes after Sky and Holder kind of met in the Hopeless series. I just loved this. It tied everything together beautifully. I am going to give it a 4 stars only because Finding Perfect was my favourite, so that probably, spoiler alert, will get a 5 star, but this will get a 4 star. I really, really enjoyed this, and you definitely need to read the novellas when you're reading the Hopeless series because it just ties everything together beautifully. It's so good. Yeah, 4 stars, absolutely incredible. Loved it. Next, I'm going to move on to another author, and that is Emily Henry. Now, Emily Henry is one of those authors that I have been told multiple times, you need to read Emily Henry books, they're so good, and granted, they were really, really good. So the first one I picked up was a beach read, which I really enjoyed. I am going to have to remind myself of the characters because I read this ages ago. So January and Gus, that was it. So you have January, whose father passed away. She goes to her beach house, and she essentially is an author, so she's writing a book and she's having a hard time writing it, and opposite her beach house is Gus, who is another author. Their kind of genres of book writing is completely different. She's into romance, and I cannot remember what he's into. I think it's more of a, I don't want to say a true life kind of vibe, is it? I can't remember. I have no idea now, I can't remember, I do apologise, my memory is not great. But anyway, he writes a completely different genre, which is not a bit of January. So anyway, they're both struggling to write their books, so they decide to switch genres and write something completely different. It's all about their kind of relationship. It's an enemies to lovers vibe because you find out a lot about their past, and I just absolutely love this. I would give this one a 5 stars. I really, really loved it. Yeah, it finished perfectly. It was just a beautiful book. The ending was just pristine and I loved it. So yeah, it's got a lot of ups and downs, but it's absolutely amazing. If you want a good read, this is so good. So yeah, amazing. The next book was again by Emily Henry, and this is You and Me on Vacation. Now, I've heard so many good and bad things about this book, and my friend Kelsey absolutely loved this book, and I don't know if I loved it. I'm going to give this a 3 stars, which I know sounds really harsh because the writing in this is perfect and I did really enjoy the story. It was just a little bit far-fetched in my opinion. I think that, I don't know, essentially all it is about a girl called Poppy and a boy called Alex, and they become really good friends in university and they go on a lot of holidays together, and then they have this kind of big fight which is quite blown out of proportion, but anyway, so it stops them from talking, and then she one day asks him, do you want to go on vacation with me, like they used to, and kind of rekindle their friendship. But I just feel like if you don't talk to somebody for 2 years, it's kind of out of the blue to go on holiday. I don't know. It just seemed very far-fetched in my opinion. I didn't love it. I got kind of bored reading the same things over and over again. The writing was beautiful. It was really good. It did entice me and draw me into the story, but the only good bit about this story was the more spicy scenes. I'm not gonna lie, everything else was a little bit dull. So I'm gonna give it a 3 stars. I would recommend it if you like Emily Henry's writing. I love her writing, and I don't regret reading it. It's just not my favourite out of the 3, spoiler, that I've read. So yeah, 3 stars on this one. And the last book I read by Emily Henry was Book Lovers. Now, I didn't even mean to read 3 of Emily Henry's books in 1 month. I have basically a massive TBR pile that when I finish a book, I go to my pile and I just pick out the next one at random, and I didn't even realise that I'd read 3 of her books in a month. But anyway, this is about a girl called Nora who is a literary agent. She's very work focused, and she basically goes on holiday with her sister, and when she's there she meets a guy, Charlie, that was it, I'm forgetting all their names. She meets Charlie, who she had met in the past at a meeting in regards to work, and he came across very, very rude. However, they randomly bumped into each other on holiday, and it's kind of about their friendship growing again, another enemies to lovers but not really enemies vibe. So good. I did really enjoy this book. It's very, very good. I don't really know how to describe it. It really draws draws you into kind of Nora's mindset and everything like that, and I love her relationship with her sister so much. Their relationship is just perfection, and I just really liked it. It had some twists and turns you don't expect the ending, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, I love this one. I would give this one a 4 stars. It's not, again, my favourite of the 3, but it's definitely a 4-star read, so I did like that one. So the next book I read was Shatter Me, and this is from the ever so famous Shatter Me series. I mainly picked this one up because I saw it in the works for £5 and I thought, well, there's got to be a hype about this for a reason. So I picked it up and I really actually enjoyed it. It was something completely different for what I enjoy. As you can tell from what I've just gone through, I love a good romance book. I absolutely live for a good romance book. However, this was completely different. It did have some small romance like sprinkles in there, nothing too heavy whatsoever. So essentially what this book is about, without spoiling anything, it's about a girl called Juliet who isn't a normal human, I'm just going to say that, and she was captured and put in prison for a specific reason. However, it's kind of how, I can't give anything away. Basically, the world has gone upside down. It is absolutely awful. It's not a good place to be whatsoever, and she meets somebody called Adam who gets put in the cell with her, and it's kind of their adventure after that, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away. It's just so good. Juliet essentially has a gift. On the back it says, I have a gift, I'm more than human, my touch is power, I will fight back. And I'm not going to give any more spoilers away, but yeah, it was really good. I did buy the second one, so it was good enough for me to buy the second one. So I did really enjoy it, so love it. Oh, and I would give it probably 4 stars. I did really enjoy it, and it was something different, so 4 stars for me. Loved it. So the next book is The Roommate, and this is by Rosie Dannon, and essentially I picked this book up on a whim. I saw it and I thought the front cover looks cute, like I'm just going to pick it up, and actually I really enjoyed this book, and I don't want to give it away too much. Essentially it's about a girl called Clara who goes to live with one of her friends who is a boy, and he decides that he's going to go and gig with his band and go on a tour. So she's going to live in his house on her own with a random stranger who he's let a room out to, and essentially it's about their kind of friendship growing into a little bit more. She's very, is dignified the right word? I don't know, but he has a job which is a little bit more spicy. I'm not going to say anything else. It was a really good book actually. I did really enjoy it. It has got quite a bit of spice in it. I'm not going to say anything else. 4 stars. Actually really good. It surprised me. I think that's why I'm going to give it 4 stars. The actual storyline I did like and I did enjoy, and I probably would normally have given it a 3, but I didn't expect much from this, so a 4 stars it is. And yeah, I would definitely recommend it. A really good book. If you like a bit of spice and a little bit of a slow burning romance, you'll love this book. The next book I read was One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. I loved this book so much. I actually started watching the series on Netflix the other day, and I'm kind of 2/3 of the way through an episode. I didn't want to binge it because I was really worried it was going to spoil the second book, so I am reading that currently, and I'm hoping to finish that today or tomorrow. So yeah, I really need to hurry up and finish that because I really want to watch this series. But One of Us is Lying is an absolute incredible book. If you've seen the series on Netflix, you kind of know what happens. However, I have spoken with my friend Zoe. She's watched the series. I haven't watched it all, and we've kind of compared notes, and it's not exactly the same. But One of Us is Lying is basically about a group of 5 people who go into detention. One of them ends up dead, and essentially it's all about the kind of investigation process, what actually happened. The one who passes away, he has an online kind of gossip site, I guess, about the school, so you have no idea who's done it, and it's just incredible. I loved the fact that at the end you did find out what happens. I hate when you read a book and it ends on a cliffhanger. It doesn't answer all your questions. This answered every question and more, and I really enjoyed it, so I am so excited to get through the series, but I do want to read the second book first. So I really love this. I would give this one a 5 stars. I just enjoyed it. It was amazing. So a 5 stars from me. Beautiful. I loved it. And last but definitely not least is my favourite book of the month, and that is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This book was so good. I cannot describe how good this book was. I loved it. It was a little bit bigger of a normal book as well. This one was about 430 pages, which is a bigger book for me for sure. I loved this so much. I love a good murder mystery on TV, on Netflix anyway, so I'd never really tried a murder mystery until last month in a book form. This was absolutely genius. Essentially, the only thing about this that I didn't like so much is that it was written in third person, which I find quite hard to read sometimes. However, essentially, a brief synopsis is a girl called Andy gets murdered and her boyfriend then kills himself. 5 years later, they've kind of ruled it off as he did it and then he killed himself out of guilt. However, a girl called Pip is taking up the case as part of a school project, and it's just amazing what she finds out. So I just love this book so much. You cannot trust any character. That's what I'm gonna say. Incredible. 5 stars. I would give it 10,000 stars if I could, but it is definitely a 5-star read, and I really think you should read it. If you love a good kind of head scratcher of a book, it's brilliant. So those are all of the books I read in July. I am so incredibly proud that I managed to get through 10 books last month, so pat on the back for me. I am so impressed with myself. But let me know down below if you've actually read any of those books, and I would love to know your rating out of 5 down below, because I find it really interesting when some people can read the same book but not have the same kind of opinion on it. So yeah, let me know down below if you've read any of those books, or if you're going to read any of them, please let me know. Also, any books you think I would enjoy from the kind of list of books I've read, again, please let me know, because I would love to know. I'm always wanting to buy more books, and my Amazon TBR wishlist is down below, so have a little look on there. You'll kind of get a rough idea of the books that I do really kind of enjoy and the ones that I want to read. So have a look on there and let me know down below any recommendations, because I would love to know. So that is everything for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. I love you so very much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.